What's going on, everybody? It's AG here. It's time for my week 8 top 25. Had to take last week 7, off because had a busy weekend, had to do some game planning stuff. So had to take that week off. Had some people in the comments in week 6 asking where week 7 was, but we're back. Should be good from here on out. But as for week 8, we've had a lot of changes since my last top 25, which again was week 6. Um, Changes at the top, changes at the bottom, changes all over. My preseason national championship, Penn State is completely off the grid. James Franklin is out. Might do a candidates list on that a little later today, so be on the lookout for that. But let's go ahead and get into the top 25. 25 and 24 right now, they are the leaders in the clubhouse for the G5 spot. Got Memphis at 25. So far, they're undefeated. They have a win over Arkansas, which Arkansas isn't looking the best this year, but that still is an SEC win nonetheless. So Memphis coming in at 25, control their own destiny there. 24, USF. USF only lost so far as the Miami, which is looking like a surefire college football playoff, really national championship contender. Have a win in the swamp against Florida, something that Texas couldn't do. So as of right now, these are the two leaders when it comes to the G5 spot. I think UNLV could have some say to that if they win out, but we'll see if the American Conference, if it's so good that it ends up kind of cannibalizing itself. 23 and 22, you kind of put these two teams together as well. Louisville, 23, only loss so far in overtime to Virginia. Then as for Virginia, they had a loss to NC State, but they're looking better and better each week talking about Virginia. So Virginia is trending up 22. Both those teams kind of control their own destiny when it comes to being in the the ACC. 21 USC, big win over Michigan this week. I think they'll kind of do that. They'll kind of knock some teams off in the Big Ten and kind of probably end up screwing themselves where they don't get as many teams as originally thought. Washington, one loss, only loss to Ohio State. Really dynamic backfield with Washington. I've been pretty impressed with them. 19, Utah. Only lost to Texas Tech. Handled Arizona State yesterday. Now, they were without Sam Levitt, so it's hard to know exactly what they are. But defense for Utah should be really good no matter who they play in the Big 12. And really, besides Tech, it's kind of open season right now, I think, in the Big 12. 18, Oklahoma struggled against Texas yesterday. They do have a good win over Michigan, but I'm curious to see – number one, John Mateer coming back from surgery. How healthy is he going to be? But number two, is this going to be similar to usual where they kind of start okay and then they drop off when they get to the SEC play? I think Brendan Venables' hot seat is really going to heat up here for him. And if he struggles in SEC play, I think Brent Venables is going to be gone. 17, Texas. Texas has 2 losses right now, but bounced back nicely against Oklahoma yesterday. I think they've still got a really high ceiling, but that loss to Florida really showed some issues that Arch Manning and that offense got to get fixed. 16, BYU, still undefeated. Close win yesterday, though, in overtime against Arizona. Don't really know what to think of BYU, but they've got some potential for sure. 15, Georgia Tech. They're undefeated as well, but they haven't really beaten anybody. Now, I think that Clemson win is going to look better and better as the year goes on because I wouldn't be shocked, by the end of the year if Clemson's in the top 25 because I figured they'll get it all figured out. But right now I've got Georgia Tech. 14, Oregon. Lost to Indiana at home. Didn't see that coming. But Oregon, they were number 1 for me last time. Had a win over Penn State, but that win, looks a little weaker week in, week out. Penn State is just plummeting right now. So Oregon, I've got 14. Tennessee, really 13 through 9 here. You could all kind of group up together. Tennessee has 1 loss in the SEC play. Close loss to Georgia, but barely beat Arkansas, so they don't know what to think. The SEC is pretty much going to cannibalize itself, like I was talking about earlier with a couple other conferences where right now there's a whole bunch of teams here that could make the playoff, but they're going to have to beat each other at some point. 12, LSU, similar situation. They beat South Carolina yesterday. I think South Carolina is talented, though. So LSU has some potential for sure. Missouri, Vanderbilt, same situations. They both lost to Alabama, but pretty competitive games, but never really a chance at beating Alabama probably at the same time. Missouri definitely had a closer chance than Vandy, but Missouri impressed me. I didn't think they'd be able to play with Bama, and they did. And then for Vanderbilt, kind of the same thing. Like I said, they played with Bama a little bit when they played them, but nowhere near of a chance of beating them. So right now, they both have a loss, as do LSU and Tennessee, and also does my number 9, which is Georgia. But all of them have struggled at times. But Georgia yesterday kind of struggled with Auburn a little bit, and I don't know. I don't know if it's their offense or what, because they shut down Auburn's offense, but so is everybody. But their offense, talking about Georgia, kind of struggled a little bit at times. I think like 20 yards with like a minute to go in the first half, so a little questionable. Ole Miss comes in number 8. They are still undefeated, but looked really iffy yesterday against Washington State. I'm a little bullish on Ole Miss. I don't think they're actually that good, probably. As for some of these other teams in the top 25 right now, 7 Texas Tech. They're undefeated. They have a chance to run the table, and they'll move up the rankings as that goes on. It's just in the Big 12 that's kind of slim pickings on what's considered a good win, 6, Notre Dame. Now, this may be a little wild for some people because Notre Dame does have 2 losses, but when you look at those 2 losses, it's to 2 of the top 4 teams in the country by a combined 4 points. They lost to A&M and Miami. So Notre Dame, I think, is actually probably legit. We saw them beat the crap out of Arkansas a couple weeks ago. 5, I've got Alabama. Alabama, they do have a loss to Florida State, but they have looked better and better each week. It's like opposite ends of the spectrum. When Florida State beat them, Alabama figured it out. When Florida State beat Alabama, that was their season, and Florida State has just plummeted since. At Alabama, I've got a 5. 4, Texas A&M. I'm curious to see, though, if it is like last year where they have a chance to kind of make the SEC championship, but when they start playing those tougher teams in the SEC, they slowly start dipping down because at the end of the day, they really haven't beaten anybody super, super great. I think Mississippi State probably is their best win. 3, Indiana. I did not see that coming. Kurt Cignetti, heck of a job going into Oregon and beating Oregon. Wouldn't be shocked if Kurt Cignetti gets a call from Penn State. We'll see what happens there. But Indiana, they looked apart, and then you go look at the rest of their schedule. Really, no reason they probably shouldn't go undefeated. Number 2, Miami. Miami is, I think, a legitimate national championship contender. If you were to ask me right now, I'd say 1 or 2. It's probably one of them that's going to win it. If not, it'd probably be 5 and 6. One of those teams. But I think Miami looks legit. They're going to run the table, I think, in the ACC. And I think Georgia screwed up letting Carson Beck go because Miami looks the part. Then for number 1, Ohio State, they've not played the best competition so far, but they beat Texas. That's a good win. Beat Washington. That's another one. But also beat Illinois. Ohio State, though, is the most consistent team, I think, so far. Even if they're not just the flashiest, they are not within the razor's edge of, like some of these SEC teams were like, okay, they've got the game in hand, but if this team scores on the last drive, they're going to get upset. Ohio State's not letting that happen. So as of right now, I've got Ohio State. They're too talented. They'll be in the playoff, I think, no matter what happens. And with Penn State firing James Franklin, don't see them upsetting Ohio State. Drew Aller's out for the year. With Michigan's issues, I think USC kind of exposed yesterday what Ohio State needs to do against them. So we'll see. But I think Ohio State and Indiana headed for a collision course probably in the Big Ten championship. But those are my Week 8 top 25 rankings. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Who would you add that is not on this list? There's some honorable mentions, but we'll get to that maybe next week if they make the rankings. But who would you add? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Let me know all that good stuff. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe.